So let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks and what are they gonna do next season. So the Dallas Mavericks right now have been in a position of just making moves to make their team be better. They had an incredible offseason and they've recently stepped up their game when it comes to how to build and what to look for around their lineup to make themselves better, right? They have champions, they have experienced players, and they've really, stepped it up a notch when it comes to, what it means to have a good team. As we know, they have, in my opinion, two top 75 players of all time, and that's become one of the talking points of their roster because it's like they have Kyrie, right, who's a player which, in my opinion, should have made it, right? And then they have Luka Doncic, which is a player who is going to be there eventually. Like even if he doesn't win a championship, he'll probably get one MVP or not even. Just his longevity awards, in my opinion, could put him up there in his statistics, right? But so you have these two guys. They're both guards. They're both bad on defense. So when you get both of these guys, it doesn't. And the reason why it doesn't work, it's because both of these guys have an extremely rough relationship with what it's called, playing like playing with bad defenders. And what I mean by that is that Luke and Kyrie need good defenders around them, and we've seen it throughout their entire career. When Kyrie was originally in Cleveland with LeBron and Kevin Love, they had J.R. Smith, 3-and-D guy. They had LeBron, which played defense. They had Tristan Thompson, which helped with the paint. And Kyrie just had to fit into the system and the team defense which they played for him to be good, you know what I'm saying? But now, what it's become for them, it's okay, it's not about, team defense anymore because since Kyrie's been moved around so much, he's been on some teams which have really sucked or have really been very rough. And these have included, when he was with the Celtics, they had phenomenal defense, but he got injured, right? And then when he was with the Nets, that team flamed out because even though, yes, it was, KD and Kyrie, let's face it, that's not a team which could win a championship together just off the strength of those two, right? Because even though they were good, they didn't have the pieces around them to do it, in my opinion, right? The Nuggets would have beat them. So now he ends up in Dallas, right? And what we could talk about Kyrie is that, he's a phenomenal player. Last time when he was in Dallas, he averaged 27 points. He played 20 games and he averaged 27 points on 50% from the field, almost 40% from three, 95% from the free throw line, right? And with 6 assists and 5 rebounds. For a 6'2 guard who weighs 195, in my opinion, that's phenomenal. So Kyrie's good, right? We have Luka Doncic, which is a ball hog. I love him, but he really needs the ball in his hands to make the team roll. And now he has a secondary score. What we need to see from Luka now is him become like a LeBron type player, right? Where LeBron has really changed his game to play around superstars, where all he had to do was score and pass enough to run the offense fluidly, right? And but save his energy mostly for defense. It's what he did in the Miami Heat, where LeBron is going to get 27 points in his sleep, right? Especially when he was in his prime. So what he would do is that he would score all the points that he needed to. He would pass it to his teammates, but then since he didn't have to drop 36 and 6 every game, 32, 6 and 6 every game, like he had to do when he was in Cleveland originally, the leftover energy would just be used for defense. We've seen Luka training this offseason, and I hope that he gets into the season in shape. So now, apart from the stars, I want to talk about their supporting cast because this matters a lot. I'm sorry, but you could have as many stars as you want, but if the supporting cast sucks, you're going to end up like the 2022 Lakers, and that's just a fact. So, their backup shooting guard is, by the way, they run Luka at point guard and Kyrie at shooting guard. Their backup shooting guard is Tim Hardaway Jr. He's been good for them, He's just a guy who chucks up threes and makes shots. He's not that efficient from the field, and he's never been. And he's always been one of these guys which you keep on your roster because he'll add something. He's more consistent than a lot of the guys that we've seen. He's also a vet, and you know that even though he is on the lineup, he won't cost your team too much, and you could always trade him. So, in my opinion, Tim Hardaway has been a solid piece for them. He's been there for about 4 years now and has consistently gotten starting spots every single season because he's a good player, even though he's inefficient, and he'll give you at least like 13 to 14 points secure. And they kept Tim Hardaway, right? And then one of the best signings, which in my opinion they did, was get Rashawn Holmes. Because Rashawn Holmes they got him through a trade in the draft where they basically got him from the Kings. And in my opinion, this is one of the best trades that we've seen in a while from this team. Rashawn Holmes is 6'10", 235 pounds, and the dude is just a really good center. He always shoots 60% from the field for the past 5 seasons. He gets 8 rebounds per game, about 7 to 8 rebounds per game. And the only reason why he didn't do that last season was because the starting center role for the Kings was, taken by Domantas Sabonis, and the backup center role was not given to him because he only got 8.3 minutes of play time. So he was only playing in either garbage time or even if he was playing in a big moment, Domantas Sabonis is a guy who plays a lot of minutes. So in my opinion, Rashawn Holmes will get to shine next to Luka, next to Kyrie, next to point guards who attract a lot of attention because they'll leave the paint wide open. He could just be what he's always been, which is, block shots, block shots, which he's really good at, play a lot of minutes and be able to be effective from the field. And I do believe that he should be the starting center, right? Because I don't like their center core over there in Dallas. Then we have the rookie Jaden Hardy. This year he showed that he was phenomenal. He's one of those rookies which came out the gate swinging. He came out the gate getting it done. And he's been phenomenal. He shot 40% from three in his rookie season on 3 attempts per game and 43% from the field on 7 attempts per game. He averaged about 8 points and was just a defensive monster on the court when it came. And you could tell that he was just, a phenomenal player, and they drafted him in the second round. So that means that he's cheap, he's young, right? He's 21, and he's going to be there for a long time for Dallas. And I like Jaden Hardy. Then they did the biggest signing of the, they had signed Seth Curry, which is phenomenal. And that's going to give them another 3-point threat, a guy who could just sit there and drain threes, who can do it, and averages a 43% 3-point percentage for his entire career on 4 attempts per game. He's played in Dallas before. He played probably the best seasons of his career in Dallas. I'm sorry to Philadelphia. I know that he played some good years over there, but Dallas really, gave him a place where he could, just do what he was intended to do, which is just drain threes at a big clip. And in my opinion, that's phenomenal for him that now he's back again with Luka. He's there with Kyrie, which he's played with before, right? And now they can finally coexist when he was with Kyrie, he had one of the best seasons of his entire career. It's because Seth Curry gets better when there's other guards who have more attention to him. Then you have JaVale McGee, which in my opinion was the biggest disappointment out of anyone in this lineup. They signed him to a good deal as he had helped Phoenix make the finals. But then this season, they didn't play him as much, and that is true. I don't know why they didn't play him. They play him around 8 minutes a game, but really he's been a pretty much a disappointment for them. And I'm not saying that to hate on him. I'm just saying that to say that I like this. Like JaVale McGee was supposed to be like the center, which changed everything. Which made the team better, which helped a veteran presence, a veteran championship presence, and he hasn't done that. And I think that's more because of coaching. I hope he gets more minutes next season, but I doubt it. And finally, the player who I really want to talk about is I like the Mavericks position right now because they signed Grant Williams. We've talked about a lot of dudes. They have Rashawn Holmes now. They have Seth Curry. They have Luka, Kyrie, which you can't miss. They have Tim Hardaway. They have Maxi. They have Maxi Kleber, if I'm not mistaken, right? And they have all these guys, but really, what puts it all together is Grant Williams, because Grant Williams is exactly what they needed. When they lost Reggie Bullock, and when they also lost Dorian Finney-Smith, it was a big loss for them because they lost all of their defense. And now that they get Grant Williams, a guy who can space the floor, play defense, and play into a system, that's phenomenal, as he can do everything that those guys did and do it effectively. And I really like this pickup for Dallas and for Grant so he can finally get a bigger role and a starting role in an actual good team. And yeah, I like Dallas for next season better than I like them this season.